Okay, so most of you out there might not know that I used to be a huge nitro head back in the day. I used to have a T-Max, started off with the 2.5, then I moved over to the 3.3, then I fooled around with some big block engines, and they were all pull start engines. I had a Wasp Orion .28 engine in it. And then the Revo came out, and I believe the Revo is called the Revo because at the time it was revolutionary. So it started off with the Revo 2.5, which I never owned, and then I moved and I got the Revo 3.3. And after I bought the Revo 3.3 right here, I sold my T-Max, and this was the extent of my nitro. Now this Revo 3.3 has a lot of sentimental value, and I have put this truck to hell and back, and I've learned a lot of what I know about nitro from owning the T-Max and Revo 3.3. As you can see, I've done a lot of work to this truck. It might be a little deceiving. Put a custom roll cage on here that I welded that protect the cooling head. This is probably my third or fourth 3.3 put into this vehicle. And I've had a lot of fun with this, but the problem with nitro through the years is a lot of people started getting turned off by nitros because of the tunability, and a lot of people were intimidated by nitros because they never ran right, and everybody just wanted to move over to the ease of use of electric, and even I did so, and I got my Revo 3.3, which you guys know as the Blue Beast. And that's the popularity of the hobby has grown towards the electric side, and a lot of the mechanical side of the hobby, the nitro aspect of the hobby, has been lost. And I'm not saying that I blame everybody out there, because you know the innovation has not gone into the hobby side of the nitro aspect, and that's why nitro seemed to be dying through the years, because a lot of people were just intimidated. They didn't want to have to fool around with the tuning of it, and there's a lot of reasons why. Now, I have perfected the running of the 3.3 through the years, and there's a lot of things that you need to do to get them to run right, and a lot of it has to do with sealing the engine. You can barely see in there, but there's a back plate, and this is the Easy Start, and it has a one-way bearing in the back end of the engine, and basically you run into a lot of air leaks, and that's one of the biggest problems with nitro engines is air leaks. So when I would get a new 3.3 engine right out of the box, I would immediately seal it with some high temperature silicone, and I would seal the carburetor shaft going down into the engine to eliminate a lot of the air leaks. But with this style roto start, pull start engines that you would typically see on the hobby aspect of the hobby in monster trucks and things of that nature, it robs a lot of the power. And you know, people, they pull start their nitros and they break the string, the pull start, and they immediately get turned off by it. And that's one of the reasons why I would say that the hobby aspect nitro has died, and their RC companies are not putting any innovation into it. So I would say to any of you guys out there that want to get into nitro, you definitely should. But what I've learned is that what you want to move over to is a true racing kit. So for those of you that have been following along with the TLR 4.0 8Ight-T Nitro Truggy kit, you'll probably know exactly what step I'm up to, and as a matter of fact, I'll share with you right here. We stopped at part number F1. So this is a race kit, and this is what you would see on the racetrack, and this is where all the innovation has gone as far as nitro goes. So I just wanted to share all the goodies I got. And you know, this is what I've built the truck up to as of right now, and I had to stop at part F1 because the next step is the servo trays, and I didn't have any servos at the time. So those of you that have been following along, you're very familiar at how far along I am with the kit, and it has come together phenomenally. It's a top-notch, top-quality build. You might not have seen it. I didn't show it, but I recently got an aluminum chassis brace right here in the front. But I wanted to share everything I've been acquiring for the last month to finish the kit, and I'm just about done. I only need to buy a few more items and then this kit will be 100% complete, but I do have enough parts to move forward, so stay tuned for part 5 of the build series. But look at all these beautiful parts I got right here, guys, and most importantly, I know a lot of you were waiting for this, and like I said, I don't want to give you a spoiler here, but I know a lot of you were asking what engine am I going to go with, and I ended up going with the new LRP ZR 0.32X Spec 4, and they're calling this the X-Tech or X Series. And it also comes with the updated carburetor. It's the X-Tech or X Series carburetor. And for those of you that are familiar with the LRP 0.32, it usually comes with a pull start and you have to acquire the back plate. This one comes with a back plate already installed, and look at the size of this engine. Now I know a lot of you were waiting to see what I got. I hope I'm not spoiling this for you guys, but just look at the beauty of this engine, and if you can just imagine it sticking out of that hole right there in the body, this thing is going to be a beast. I know a lot of you were wondering, so there you go. This is the engine that I chose, and if you're tuning in for this long, now you know what engine I chose. Then to accompany this big block engine, I went with the NOVAROSSI 9886 exhaust pipe with the stinger on it. I hear that this is a good match for this engine, and I went with the NOVAROSSI 4.0 header pipe. So this is going to be the heart and lungs of this beast. Okay, so there you go. And I also wanted to add that now, like I said, the innovation has gone into the racing aspect of the hobby. You do not need a pull start or a roto start. What's going to start this engine is a starter box. So for those of you that aren't familiar with it, this is a starter box or a bump box, and basically that's what's going to start the engine. And there's a rubber wheel on there that will bump against the flywheel of the engine, and that's what's going to start this beast up. I also went with, which are no longer available, so get them while you can, the DE Racing wheels for this. And there's the part number right there, DERPST8B. And to accompany these, I went with the PROLINE Badlands, which are becoming hard to come by. I believe these are being discontinued as well. And there's the part number 117800. So that's going to be the wheels and tires for the unit. I did pick up the front aluminum chassis brace, which does require some modifications in order to install. And I did pick this up because it was said it was for the 8T, but unfortunately this rear chassis brace will not fit the TLR 8Ight-T 4.0 Truggy kit. This is meant for the 8B or the 8T, but not the Truggy. So just take that into mind. So I won't even show that. I might be able to use that in the future, but I will be able to use the front aluminum chassis brace with some slight modifications. I picked up something I would like to try is this new style air filter. It's the R2C HEPA filter air filter for this unit. And I've never seen this before. It does use a pre-filter as well, but this is a non-oiled air filter. As you might remember in nitros of the past, you always had to oil your filter, and as a matter of fact, on my Revo 3.3 I do use a oiled air filter, but I also use an outerwears, what they might call a motor saver cover, which I'm a big fan of this fine mesh cover, but they are becoming hard to come by, and outerwears is kind of cutting back on their RC products as of late, which is unfortunate. I did pick up a 15 tooth clutch bell for the unit, give me a kind of a good balance between bottom end and top end. Picked up some extra clutch bell bearings. I picked up a Spectrum receiver because I am going to utilize my old remote, my DX3S, and most of my vehicles are linked on that remote, and I wanted to be able to utilize that while I'm out. I haven't picked up a Futaba yet, so I figured for the time being I'm going to utilize my DX3S, so I picked up the SR310 receiver for it. I picked up a DYNAMITE LiPo RX battery, 2000 milliamp, 7.4 volt, and this is going to power these monster servos. Now this is way overkill, guys, I will admit, but for a top-notch kit like this I didn't want to cut back, and I will say that these are probably two of the best servos that I've ever owned. And we're looking at the Savox 1272 SG and the Savox 2270 SG, which is just a monster of a servo. And this is going to be my throttle brake servo, and this is going to be my steering servo. So I'll give you some of the specs on these things, which is absolutely insane. And as you can see, under 7.4 volts, this servo will get 416.6 ounces of torque, and it will get 0.10 speed at 7.4 volts. And this one here, which is going to be my steering servo, gets 444.4 ounces of torque and 0.12 on the speed under 7.4 volts. So these are two monster. This one is a brushless servo, so it's a bit overkill for this unit, but I figured I didn't want to cut any corners when it came to this racing kit. So that's it. That's the update on the kit. I know a lot of you have been asking. So just wait to see what's going to be coming in the future with this build series. And I just wanted to thank my friend John Bodegel and my other good friend Rich Gordon for all their input on helping me put all these parts together and their inspiration to build this kit. So I just wanted to thank those guys. I appreciate it very much. There it is, guys. And that's about it for me today. I just wanted to share with you guys and let you know that I haven't been slacking. I haven't made a video in about a month, but as you can see, I've definitely still been acquiring parts for the kit. So that's about it for right now, guys. I just want to thank you all once again for 30,000 subscribers, and I hope you're all making it happen in your RC worlds out there. And for now, this is Chris, the Everyday RC Guy, saying thanks for watching.